general precedent that EU law is supreme to UK law, which was established in cases like Belmarsh and Factor Tommy. So obviously that's a big reason people voting to leave, because obviously the slogan "Vote Leave, Take Back Control," take back our sovereignty, and a lot of our sovereignty comes from devolving a lot of legal powers to the EU, and obviously the European courts are the highest point of appeal for anyone with a case in the UK as well. So one big thing about Brexit was the promise to take back this power to our current Supreme Court. So the first thing I wrote about was devolution. So I put the one potential challenge of Brexit is that the current EU withdrawal bill drafted by Theresa May that's currently being passed through the Commons allows powers devolved to the EU in areas like farming, agriculture, things like that, to go back to Westminster and our central parliament rather than regional assemblies where they might be better focused. So I think to combat this, obviously there's going to be a massive regional uproar. So to combat this, Westminster should ensure that these regional hubs like the Scottish Parliament and the Welsh Assembly get back these powers, especially since they're going to lose, regions like Wales and Cornwall will lose a lot of funding because they gain EU funding. So it's important that they at least gain like legislative rights back here.
So do we think that through devolution, each of the devolved states, I don't know, in having more control of their budget, they'll be able to generate funds for themselves and from what is lost from the EU?
I think it can strengthen devolution. If we take back the rights we gave to the EU and give them to the regions, that will definitely strengthen the devolution model and potentially quash calls for independence as well.
So it's almost like a policy of appeasement.
Yeah, kind of.
In a sense, yeah, because it's like devolving more powers to stop calls for independence.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, do we think that's a good thing? Like, would that be seen as a good outcome of Brexit?
I mean, we got to remember that Wales did vote to leave the EU.
Yeah.
So that's got to be taken into account. But Scotland did vote to remain.
Yeah.
So again, they're going to want power to do what they want to do. So this is beneficial.
Yeah.
Devolution is definitely a good thing, but it's how far do you actually go with the devolution? Do you keep it just to like Scotland, Wales, and England, or do you actually go further than that and actually give people more power, in like the council areas and stuff like that? So would it mean that we go that far, or do we just stick to what we have already in terms of devolution?
That's a good point. So like how far should we break it up?
Exactly.
For example, if London voted to remain, then should we give London more powers? If Manchester voted to remain, should we give Manchester more powers?
Because I mean, at the same time, it's still a central government. We still have that top-down approach to decision making. So then it's still going against what we already are doing here. So then again, how far do we actually go?
I think if we say gave powers to council, obviously that will be in Westminster's discretion to do that, so it would again be top down from Westminster, whereas if we left it up to regions, then they could kind of do as they please with that, but obviously with some guidance. But I think it's better to leave it to regions to avoid an uproar there. But
I feel, but then if you turn to like more regionalism, like that sort of strategy, then that could cause more problems than it solves, in the sense that could lead to divides between region. And I think the general premise, as you said, of devolution is a good idea.
Yeah,
splitting up into Wales, Scotland, England, but not necessarily by region.
Northern Ireland's obviously a big problem because of the border there. So obviously there needs to be active government legislation on the border. We can't just leave that as a woolly issue given the bad history in Northern Ireland.
But then with Northern Ireland, they need a power structure like the EU to actually talk to each side, to actually, I don't know what the right word is, just to talk to each side. It can't just be
So mediate.
Yeah, to mediate, exactly that.
Because obviously the Republic of Ireland will still be a member of the EU, so the EU will still have to probably be involved in Ireland.
They have to be.
Yeah.
There's no other way
There's
about
no
it.
option other than that.